Welcome to the Fibromyalgia Podcast. I'm Tami Stackelhouse, fibromyalgia coach, author, and founder of the International Fibromyalgia Coaching Institute. The goal of this podcast is to empower you with access to the dream team of experts and coaches I've discovered are key to living the fibro life you love. From the comfort of your own home, and maybe even your pajamas, I'll help you take back control of your life and health. To help out with fibro fog, I always include full show notes and additional resources at fibromyalgiapodcast.com. Welcome to the Fibromyalgia Podcast. I'm your coach, Tami Stackelhouse, and this is episode 169. Do you know there are only 11 weekends between now and Christmas? That is why today's episode is holiday tips for fibromyalgia, less pain, and more joy. I know it feels early to be talking about the holidays, but they sneak up fast. And without a plan, the season can turn into stress, flares, and exhaustion instead of joy. I remember one New Year's Eve, I spent all my energy decorating and preparing, only to be in too much pain to enjoy the party. I even left early so I could crash in a dark, quiet room while my guests played games downstairs. But here's the thing, it does not have to be that way. With a little planning and a few smart strategies, you really can navigate the holidays with less pain and more joy. And in today's episode, I'm sharing some of my favorite holiday tips, plus a sneak peek into the holiday edition of our upcoming Living Well with Fibromyalgia Summit. Are you ready? Let's dive in. All right, tip number 1. This is all about your energy and how you spend it. We also might call that pacing, although I think pacing is sometimes a dirty word in the fibromyalgia community. All we really mean is, how are you spending the energy that you have? For me, my main strategy on how to spend my energy is first and foremost to get clear on what is most important. There are things that we sometimes think are important that really are not important. And when I say that, I'm always reminded of the old story about the woman who was preparing the roast for their holiday dinner. A little girl was watching her prepare the roast and cut the ends off and then put it in the pan. And the little girl said, "Why are you cutting the ends off?" And mom says, "I don't know. Mom always did it that way. Go ask your grandma." So the little girl goes and she asks her grandma, "Why do we cut the ends off the roast when we put it in the pan?" And the grandmother thinks and she says, "I'm not sure. My mom just always did it that way. Go ask your great-grandma." So the little girl goes to her great-grandmother and says, "Why do we cut the ends off the roast when we put it in the pan?" And the great-grandmother says, "Well, because my pan is too small." So there may be things that you or your family are doing that you're doing because great-grandma's pan was too small, right? It may not actually be important to you. Or on the flip side, there are traditions that are important. But the thing is, sometimes we don't know without asking. This was a theme in so many of my interviews with our guest speakers for our summit. So many of them talked about traditions and just holiday things, whether that's decorations, parties, foods, whatever, things they thought were really important weren't actually all that important to their family. And until you get clear on what is important, you might be spending your energy in the wrong places. This is why my very first talk of our event is Design Your Best Holiday, Balancing Commitments and Self-Care. We have things we have to do during the holiday season, usually more even than we have to do the rest of the year. And so we do have commitments. We also cannot skip our self-care if we expect to be able to fulfill those commitments, right? One of the tips I will give you for this is to add in buffer. And what I mean by that is the extra time that you need to be able to transition from one thing to the next. Now, that transition time could be for your brain, right? If you are dealing with brain fog, and all of us with fibromyalgia have those moments, you sometimes need to give your brain a break to just sort of clear out what you were doing and move on to the next thing so that you can be fully present. Or if we're talking about work commitments, have your brain engaged again. Those buffer moments help your brain be ready. Those buffers can also be time for you to rest and recover. So, speaking as a coach, my own work life, whether this is holidays or not, I have buffer between my classes, between my clients, so that I can get up, stretch, move around, love on the cat, have a drink of water, right? We need those physical moments for our bodies as well, and it's to rest. You may even need to plan recovery days before and after events. Now, a recovery day after probably makes sense to you, right? You have a big holiday party. We need time the next day to rest and recover. But you might not think about the rest and recovery you need before the event. So let's say we are going to be going caroling and we're outside and it's going to be cold. We know we need to dress warm. It's going to be more energy. We're walking around. Rest up first, right? Don't spend the day before doing all the things. Take some recovery time ahead. Enjoy your event and then have your recovery time after. So think of those buffer days, think about them before, think about them after. This is a trick I use all year round. Less so now that my fibromyalgia is in remission, but definitely when I was working on my recovery, even when I would travel, especially when I would travel, I would plan buffer days before and after my travel, both on the front end and the back end, right? So rest before, catch the plane, get to where I'm going, have some rest, do my event, come home, rest again, right? So plan those buffer days. And in my first talk in the summit, Designing Your Best Holiday, we're actually going to walk through this a whole lot more and help you literally plan your holidays. So whether you're managing the holidays as a fibro mom, if you're balancing work holidays, fibro, all of it, or just trying to make it through without spending January in a massive flare, we've got you covered. Lauren is going to talk about thriving together, managing fibromyalgia, neurodivergence, and overwhelm. So if you have people that you love who have neurodivergent brains and who approach life a little bit different, Lauren has got some really great tips. Anne is talking about authentic fibro moms thriving with joy this holiday season. And Deb is going to be helping you out if you are someone who is working and balancing fibromyalgia, holidays, work, and all the things, right? So she will be covering that. Balancing your energy, being conscious of how you're spending it, and then those buffer days. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, food. Fibro-friendly food hacks for the holidays, as Kim's talk is called. So many events this time of year revolve around food, whether we're talking Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving dinner here in the United States is really all about food, New Year's Eve, all the holiday parties, everything right now is all about the food. And when you have a condition like fibromyalgia, where the food we eat can often affect how we feel, it can sometimes feel like a minefield going to all of these events, right? So here are some tips specifically related to food. First and foremost, one of the things I have always done is don't go to the party hungry. Eat a little something before you go, especially if you don't know what's going to be served. If you can bring something that you know is safe, then awesome, but don't go to the party hungry. And put some boundaries up for yourself. Maybe that means don't have all the holiday candies and cookies at your house if you know sugar is not going to make you feel good, whatever that might be. Or I'll give you one of my tips. Give yourself permission, right? I love eggnog lattes, all right? Eggnog lattes, as they are only around one time of the year, I give myself permission to have as many as I want, as often as I want, because I know they are really only available from November 1st, maybe until December 31st. Sometimes they don't even last that long. So I give myself permission for those 2 months. I can do whatever I want, knowing that this isn't something that I do all the time, every day, all year round, right? So maybe you give yourself permission to have whatever you want at the party, and then just make sure you be good the rest of the time. Kim really has a lot of really good tips in her talk during our event, Fibro-Friendly Food Hacks at the holidays. She's got a lot of that, and I don't want to duplicate what she's going to teach there. But this really is a big part of our holidays, and so we need to think about it. We need to have a plan for it. Snacks in your purse, whatever that looks like. All right. So that's tip number 2, really thinking through the food situation at the holidays. Number 3, this is all about mindset and self-compassion. This is about boundaries for other people with you, but also your own boundaries, and permission. I kind of talked about that a second ago with my eggnog lattes, right? But it's more than just that. One of my big things, again, all year round, is that if it's not a hell yes, I want to do that, it's a no. It doesn't even have to be a hell no. If it's not a hell yes, it's no. And that way I get to spend my time and my energy doing the things that really are the most important to me. So in our summit, we've got several talks that sort of help with this mindset and self-compassion piece. The first one that comes to mind for me is Robin's talk on holiday self-compassion, from stress to serenity. And I think that is something that we all want at the holidays, right? We want to move from stress to serenity. So make sure you check out her talk. I'm going to be talking a little bit about how our personalities come into play. So are you Martha Stewart at the holidays? Are you making the perfect house and the perfect table decorations and the perfect wrapping? Are you Buddy the Elf, who is all about excitement and fun and playmaker like me? What is your personality bringing to the table? We are going to discover your holiday wellness style, which is really just your fibromyalgia wellness style, but in the context of the holidays. So I'll be talking a lot about that. Jeanette is covering how she outsmarts perfectionism so she can have a stress-free holiday. She is one of our perfectionists, and she has learned a lot of really great tricks to just help her calm down, be centered, and be present instead of stressing herself and everybody else out. She's got a lot of really great tips that I just loved in her talk. One of them I'll talk about in just a second. Mickey is covering some self-care strategies for a joyful holiday season. So if you're one of those people who really struggles to fit in self-care, she's got a lot of good tips for that. And then I'll wrap up the event with reflect and recharge, entering the holidays with grace and gratitude. Our attitude as we approach things, whether it's preparing for the holidays or approaching how we manage our fibromyalgia, our attitude matters. and it changes our experience of things. I'm not talking about the toxic positivity of just everything's rainbow and sunshine all the time. I'm talking about really approaching things with a growth mindset, a mindset that is resilient, of we can take whatever comes with compassion and grace and being mindful and being present. That's what I'm talking about. And how we approach things really does shift when we can approach them that way. And we have, as I said, several talks during our summit that dive a lot deeper into that. All right, now I want to sort of wrap up today's episode with some quick bonus tips for you. So these are just a few rapid fire hacks and ideas that can make a big difference for you. And again, join our summit if you'd like to dive deeper into these things. A lot of our speakers are covering topics exactly like this. So our first category is time savers and stress reducers. So shop online. That could be the whole tip right there. But shop online early. That way you get what you need. You don't have the stress of worrying about it arriving. And if you're someone who prefers not to shop online, just shop early. Don't deal with the crowds. Get it done ahead of time. Second, I have wrapping your gifts in batches. And I don't mean a big batch. I mean small batches. So don't just sit down and wrap all your presents all at once. This is one of my favorite tips that Jeanette shares during her talk. Make it a moment. Be mindful about it. Be purposeful about it. Get your favorite holiday beverage, like my eggnog latte, and light a candle and put on some nice Christmas music or whatever it is that you enjoy, and wrap some presents. Again, don't do them all at once. Do them in batches. Use a timer. Use the Pomodoro technique. Break things down into opportunities to work and opportunities to rest. But do that in batches. Do it ahead of time. Do it slowly, purposefully, mindfully, calmly, and have it be a moment that you enjoy. Okay. For comfort and for your environment, number one would be to dress for comfort, not for fashion. So, yeah, you'll notice I'm actually wearing this lovely velvet zip hoodie. And part of the reason I like to wear it is it's just so freaking comfortable. It's warm, it's cozy, it feels good literally to the touch and to wear. That is a perfect example, right? Pretty much everything I own has some stretch in it. You know, a lot of times the holiday things that we get, they don't stretch, they're itchy, they're scratchy, there's glitter or ribbon or whatever it is that's stiff and uncomfortable. Start finding those comfortable things. And, you know, you can dress up pretty much any outfit with the right jewelry, right? My dangling earrings, my Santa hat. You can dress anything up. And most important, be comfortable. So that's how you can manage your physical comfort. But comfort means more than just that, right? So start thinking about what sensory friendly swaps you can make. I have asthma that occasionally flares up from time to time. And one of the things that can really trigger my asthma is scents. So it's not that I'm necessarily allergic to the scent, but those scent particles in the ear, they get me coughing, flares up my asthma. It's a real pain. So one of the things that I've done over the years is swap out my real candles for fake ones that use batteries. I stumbled across these really amazing ones from Costco a couple years ago. They look real, as long as you don't look down inside and see there's no actual flame. But they have batteries, they even have a remote. And so they don't make any smells. And I still have the ambiance without the things that trigger me. So think about things like that. We have a very specific playlist of Christmas music. So I took all my Christmas music, put it into one playlist, and as we played through it, I removed the things that were annoying. And when I say annoying, that could be anything from, I'm listening to quiet Christmas Eve music, I call it, but like the spa music for Christmas with my candles in the fireplace and the lights are down low. And then all of a sudden, Rocking Around the Christmas Tree comes on, right? That one gets deleted. So make the playlist that you enjoy. If we're playing along and my husband doesn't like a song, that one comes out too. So now, after several years of doing this, we've got a playlist that we both really enjoy that helps keep us relaxed, calm. It's wonderful. So start your own playlist that you can actually enjoy at the volume that you want to enjoy it. Decorate small. That's my next tip in this category of comfort and environment. Focused on the things that really matter to you. So when you think about holiday decorations, and this is going to be different for everybody depending on how you celebrate, what you celebrate, where you're celebrating. A couple of our coaches are actually in the Southern Hemisphere, so it's summer for them, where it's winter for us. And so think about what makes the holiday for you from a decorating standpoint. This is actually one of the questions that I asked all of our coaches in our lightning round questions, but what's your favorite holiday decoration? When I was fairly newly diagnosed with fibromyalgia, one of the things that I discovered completely by accident, right? We're putting up the Christmas tree, we get it up there, and then I get too exhausted to finish hanging all the ornaments. So I have a bare Christmas tree with just lights and nothing else. And surprisingly, I found that that was just as good for me. It was really being able to sit in my living room in the evening with all the lights off except for the Christmas tree lights and sip something warm, my eggnog latte, right? Sit by the fireplace and just enjoy the lights on the tree. In that environment, I can't really see the Christmas ornaments anyway, right? It's dark. They're silhouettes against the lights on the tree. So I realized that for me, it's the tree with the lights. The ornaments on the tree don't matter near as much. This year, last couple of years, we've had young cats. Another reason not to hang ornaments on the tree. We also worked at saving some money and bought a really nice, very easy to put together fake tree. So our tree literally just snaps together. You put one piece down, you put the next piece, the pole fits into the bottom one, and the next one fits in. It's pre-lit. The electricity is pre-wired. I just go pop, pop, pop and plug it in, and my tree is done, especially because there's no ornaments on it. So summarize all of that talking I just did. Focus on what matters most. What are the decorations that really matter to you? Maybe it actually is the ornaments on the tree because they mean something. My mom collected nativities, so she always is putting out, even if it's just a couple, putting out some of her nativities. So what is it that matters most? Focus on that, and you don't have to do everything, okay? So decorate small, but make the small things the important things. All right. My third category here for our quick tips is boundaries and support. So boundaries. They are everything. They just really are. We could also talk about decisions, right? Boundaries to me are just simply pre-decided decisions. So a decision is, do you want to go to the movies or not? Do you want to eat this piece of pie or not? A boundary is already deciding ahead of time what you're going to say yes and no to. So it's predetermined decisions that you decide ahead of time. Boundaries and support. So one of the things that I have always done with my husband, and it goes both ways because he is very much an introvert, and sometimes it's too people-y out there for him. So we make some pre-arranged agreements there on when we're going to leave. We're only going to go for an hour. We're only going to stay until this certain point. Or potentially, we also say, hey, when it gets to be too much for you, just let me know and we can go. so that you're not having to have that discussion right there in front of everybody or feel like you can't have the discussion because you're right there in front of everybody. You could even have a code word that you say like, oh gosh, we need to remember to feed the cats when we get home. That's the code for, I need to go now, thanks. Right? So have those early agreements. Another boundary, another way you can support yourself is using disposable things, right? So whether that's disposable plates, disposable silverware, disposable bakeware. I started talking about the roast in the pan. Maybe you have disposable pans, right? Those disposable things that you don't have to clean up, put away, all of that. That means way less cleanup, way less stress. Right now is not the time for you to be thinking about the environment. Let's just be real. You are more important in this particular moment, and it's okay to use things like this. It's like me drinking as many eggnog lattes as I want. I'm only doing it for 2 months. We're only using these disposable things for an event or during this one small season. This isn't what you're doing every day, and that's okay. And even if you are doing it every day, that's also okay, because the idea is that you're using these disposable things to give yourself, give your body a break. So hopefully you can recover, feel better, get your fibromyalgia under control, and then go back to saving the environment. All right. The next tip I have for you is saying yes to help. When somebody offers to help, say yes. Now, what you can do right now to help prepare for that is think about the kind of help that would actually help, right? A lot of times when we're right in the midst of everything, somebody will say, hey, what can I do to help? And our brains don't work. I have no idea. It's just easier for me to do it. But if you can stop and think ahead of time, what are some things that other people could do to help? Maybe it's setting the table. Maybe it's cutting the vegetables. Maybe it's just entertaining the people that are in the living room so you can do what you've got to do, right? Whatever that might be, think of it ahead of time so that when someone says, hey, how can I help? You've got a list in your head, or maybe even written down somewhere, of the things that you could use as help. Now, I was very fortunate at a young age to hear a really awesome piece of advice, and I have been so thankful for that literally my entire life. When I was young, we had a tree fall on our house. Actually, was this the tree or was this the fire? We also had a house fire. I think this might have actually been the house fire. But we had these events happen and we actually couldn't be in our house for a while. In the fire, my parents lost their entire bedroom, everything that was in it, their bed, their clothes, everything, my brand new school clothes that I never even got to wear. There's a lot of things that we lost. And my parents were both teachers, and the teaching community, our church, all came together and had kind of a surprise party for my family. And people brought all sorts of things. I remember there was big things of toilet paper, and people gave us dressers, and like the whole community came together and brought us a bunch of things. And I remember my mom talking to our priest at the time, and I was standing there sort of listening in, and she was having a hard time. My mom was one of those people that would prefer to be in the background and prefer to be the person doing things for other people. But to be in the front of it all and have people doing things for her, she was having a bit of a hard time with it. And I remember our priest saying to her, sometimes the best gift you can give someone is letting them give to you. And I just want to remind you of that. In those times where people are offering to help you, you are actually giving them a gift when you accept their help. You can think about all the times that you've done things for people and how good it made you feel to be able to help them. By saying no, you're denying that gift to the people who are offering to help you. So think ahead of time about the ways that people could help you, the kind of help that would actually be helpful, And when people offer to help, say yes. You can also even ask for help. The last thing I want to leave you with our quick tips, I called them quick, but they haven't been, have they? So my last tip for you is to really prioritize joy over the shoulds. Let go of those traditions that drain you and keep the ones that really light you up and bring you joy. Here's another story for you. Many years ago, all of us in my family were just kind of going through stuff, right? My grandpa had passed away. My grandmother was moving in with my aunt, and she started giving us back the gifts that we had given her. So Christmas gifts I'd given her, she gave back to me because she had to get rid of a bunch of stuff to move from her entire apartment into one room at my aunt's house. My aunt, of course, was having to get rid of stuff to make room for grandma moving in with her. My sister, Debbie, was going back to school, so she was trying to save money to pay for tuition. I was in the process of buying my first house, so I was trying to save money. My parents were also trying to get rid of all the stuff that accumulates in 20, 30, 40 years of living in one place. So all of us were in this mode of trying to get rid of things or trying to save money. And we all just ended up at the same time coming to the thought of, oh my goodness, what are we going to do about Christmas presents? We don't need more stuff. Even if it's valuable stuff, even if it's stuff you love, I'm trying to get rid of stuff right now, right? And my sister and I were trying to save money for me to buy my house, for her to pay for tuition. So we didn't really want to spend the money on gifts either. And so we got together as a family and all of us discussed it and decided, you know what? We don't need to do presents. The holidays for us is not about the gifts. My sister and I were, I think I was in my early 30s. She was in her late 20s, right? So we weren't kids. And we knew what the holidays were really about. It's not the presents. And so we all just agreed we weren't going to do presents. And we haven't ever since. And that was 25 years ago. So there are traditions that you can let go of. There are new traditions that you can make. I think sometimes it can be hard to let go of traditions, and it's much, much easier to build new traditions. So maybe it's hard to let go of the tradition of buying people gifts. But maybe you build a new tradition. We did this one year of putting your money together, and we bought a water buffalo through Heifer International. I went around and was telling everybody all I want for Christmas is a water buffalo. And so we donated a water buffalo through Heifer International. But you can build new traditions like that. Another family I know, instead of taking the money and spending the money on gifts for their own family, they would take that same amount of money and they would go to the Salvation Army or the trees, where you can pull the tags off the trees for the families who need things. And they would sponsor a family or they would buy gifts. My parents, instead of buying us gifts, they bought tons and tons of toys for kids. Since they were both teachers, right? Kids were on their hearts. They would go down, pull a bunch of tags off those trees, and then just go on a major shopping spree buying toys for other people's kids. So make new traditions, new things that light you up and bring you joy, instead of maybe having a tradition of big family events. Maybe you're building a new tradition with smaller, more intimate family events, whatever it might be. And then keep the ones that make sense. One of the traditions we always had in my family was Christmas Eve, you could open one present, and that present was pretty much always new Christmas pajamas. And as I got older, I thought, this is really smart because then Christmas morning, everybody looks cute in their new Christmas pajamas instead of the old ones that are faded and has holes in it. So the pictures look nice. But whatever your traditions might be, think about that. So prioritize the joy over the shoulds, let go of those traditions that drain you, and keep the ones that light you up. Okay, well, hopefully that gives you some new things to think about for this year. Maybe make your holiday a little bit different. We do have another episode here on the podcast where I went into more detail on some holiday survival tips. So you can find that in today's show notes. Today's episode is 169. So you will find that at fibromyalgiapodcast.com/169. And I will link to our other holiday episode in there. And of course, if these tips really resonate with you, you are going to love our event. I have already recorded all of the interviews with our coaches, and they all have some fabulous advice. One of my favorite things out of everything everybody talked about during the summit is something that Lauren said. And that is, when we think about our holidays, like in our minds, when we think about what the holidays should be, we picture all these things. And it's sort of this mashup of every holiday we have ever experienced over our entire lives. So here I am, mid-50s, 50 plus years of holidays are getting mashed together in my head. Doesn't mean you have to do everything all at once. You experienced those, some this year, some the next year, some the year after that, right? Some years we were at grandma's house, some years we were at home. We didn't do both. We might have a couple of times, but like literally, I can't be in two places at once, right? So just be compassionate with yourself that this perfect idea that you have in your head is really a combination of many, many years all coming together, especially if you're thinking about your own children, your own family, how you're creating this perfect holiday for them. You have many, many years to do it, right? You don't have to do it all at once. So come to our event if you are wanting more tips like this. It is a 10-day free event. We have got coaches literally from all over the world who are going to be there, and we are focusing specifically on ways to help you navigate the holidays with less pain and more joy. We begin on October 13th. We run through the 24th. There is one talk each day. So we try to make it really fibro friendly for you. And those recordings are available through the end of the month. If you want to upgrade to our VIP package, you will have lifetime access to all of our talks and a bunch of other goodies too. So go grab your free ticket. You can do that at fibrowellnesssummit.com. Just make sure you get all three S's in the middle there. fibrowellnesssummit.com. You can also just look in today's show notes. Again, that's fibromyalgiapodcast.com/169. And if you want extra support, we do have that VIP pass I mentioned. It includes a private VIP support group where you can connect with other VIP members, with me, with our coaches, ask questions, get free coaching. Plus, we've got several bonus live group coaching events when you sign up for our VIP experience. So you'll find all those details once you register for the event. Now I want to leave us with this week's listener shout out. This comes from Shelly, who was one of our VIP members during our last summit event back in January. She said this about our VIP support group. She said, even in such a short amount of time, the community made a huge impact on me. Having a place where people truly understood what I was going through was priceless. So if you are feeling like nobody understands why the holidays aren't always just magic and light for you, if you are struggling to find people who understand why you need to think about the holidays at the beginning of October, please join us and join our VIP support group. We all have fibromyalgia. We all get it, and we all can help you find a better way this time around. Our early bird VIPs who register by Thursday, October 9th, will also be invited to our holiday kickoff party that is hosted by me and our guest speakers. So you can join us and start your celebration early on the 10th of October. So you have to register by the 9th, but on the 10th of October, we're having that celebration. Bring your favorite holiday drink, wear your ugly Christmas sweater or your reindeer antlers. As you can see, I've got my Santa hat all ready to go. This is going to be a fibro-friendly happy hour where you can socialize, ask questions, and simply just have some fun with the people who get you. This will be hosted over Zoom for our early bird VIPs. So as I wrap up today, I just want to remind you that you do not have to do it all this holiday season. It's important for you to do the things that matter to you. Remember, it's a hell yes or it's a no. And with those right tools and the right support, you really can find more joy and less pain. And I hope you will come back and join me. Our next episode, 170, is an Ask the Coach episode. And to kind of go with this holiday theme that we're having right now, the question that I'm going to answer was sent in by one of our listeners, and it was about how do I explain my fibromyalgia to friends and family? Because that does happen this time of year, right? With all the extra family get-togethers, more people asking questions, are you better yet, right? Or you don't look sick. So we'll be talking about that in our next episode, how you can explain your fibromyalgia to family and friends. See you back here next time. And that wraps up another episode of the Fibromyalgia Podcast. I'm your coach, Tami Stackelhouse. For daily doses of hope, inspiration, and practical advice, come hang out with me on Facebook. Visit facebook.com/fibrocoach to find my personal coaching page and connect with me directly. To find the show notes, additional resources, or to schedule a consultation with me or one of my coaches, visit fibromyalgiapodcast.com.